Hearken, son of the North, to a life forged in the chill winds of Scandinavia and the crashing waves of distant shores. You are born into an age of exploration, plunder, and profound change, the Viking Age. This is your saga, from the smoky longhouse of your birth to your final journey, a life woven with the threads of axe and oar, farm and feast. If you like what I do, please like and subscribe. Now put on your headphones, pull up the blanket, take a deep breath, and relax. Your first cries echoed through the sturdy communal longhouse of your family's fjord-lined settlement in Scandinavia. The air was thick with the comforting smell of hearth fire, its smoke rising to the smoke hole above, mingling with the earthy scent of livestock housed at one end. You were born into a farming family, for even the fiercest Viking spent most of his days tilling the soil. Your world was built on the land and the sea, two forces that would shape your entire existence. The longhouse was a hive of activity, the murmur of conversation, the rhythmic thud of a loom, the clatter of tools, and the contented lowing of cows or snuffling of pigs just beyond a partition. Your family's wealth was measured in land, livestock, and silver, but also in the strength of your kin and the craftsmanship of your belongings. You slept close to your parents and siblings, sharing warmth in the cold northern winters, listening to the crackle of the fire and the howling wind outside. The light was dim, flickering from the central hearth. Shadows danced on the carved wooden posts, hinting at the spirits and gods believed to inhabit your world. You were one of many children, for survival was a constant struggle, and many hands were needed to work the farm and run the household. The sound of the nearby fjord, the distant cries of seabirds, and the rustle of pine forests were the lullabies of your infancy, connecting you intrinsically to your natural environment. This birth into a self-sufficient, tightly knit community instilled in you early the values of hard work, resilience, and loyalty to your kin. Your earliest memories would be of the warmth of the fire, the taste of home-baked bread, and the reassuring presence of your family in the heart of your ancestral longhouse. Weeks or months after your birth, you were formally brought into the family and community. You were given a name, a significant event that marked your entry into the world. Your name was chosen with care, often reflecting family lineage, carrying the name of an esteemed ancestor to honor their memory and strength. Alternatively, your name might reflect a desired trait. Bjorn, bear, for strength. Gunnar, bold warrior, for courage. Astrid, divinely beautiful, for grace. The ceremony was simple but meaningful, perhaps involving sprinkling water on your forehead or acknowledging you before the family and close neighbors. This act of naming was your first step into being recognized as an individual, a new thread woven into the fabric of your clan. Your father or head of the household would formally acknowledge you, perhaps holding you aloft for all to see, a moment of quiet pride. This moment solidified your place within the tight-knit community, ensuring that your existence was known and affirmed by those who mattered. In a world where lineage and reputation were paramount, your name was your first claim to identity, connecting you to generations past and future. You would grow up hearing stories of others who bore your name, learning of their deeds, both good and ill, and understanding the weight of the legacy you carried. The naming ceremony was a quiet promise of belonging, a recognition that you were now part of the intricate web of kinship and shared destiny in your Norse world. Your childhood was a blend of practical learning and robust play. From a young age, you were actively involved in daily chores, contributing to the family's survival. You'd fetch water from the nearby well or stream, balancing heavy buckets, developing strength and responsibility. You'd collect firewood, your small arms struggling with logs. Tending animals was another early duty. You'd help feed the goats, gather eggs from the chickens, or perhaps lead the oxen to pasture, learning patience and animal husbandry. But life wasn't all toil. Play was an essential part of your development, mimicking the adult world around you. You and your friends would carve wooden swords, engaging in mock battles. You'd fashion toy longships from bark or wood, imagining epic voyages across vast seas, fueling dreams of exploration and adventure. Practicing physical feats was common, running, jumping, wrestling with your peers, honing agility and strength, preparing your body for the rigors of adulthood. You learned basic knot tying, essential for both farming and seafaring. You'd practice throwing small stones with accuracy, a precursor to spear throwing. The children's games were often competitive, teaching resilience in victory and defeat, and fostering a sense of camaraderie and rivalry that would continue into adulthood. Your parents and elders watched, sometimes intervening, but mostly allowing you to learn through experience, understanding that practical skills were paramount. This early immersion in both productive labor and physical play laid the foundation for your future life, instilling the hardiness, resourcefulness, and spirit of competition characteristic of your people. As you grew, your education became more specialized, dictated by your gender and the needs of the farmstead. For boys, it was a curriculum of strength and craftsmanship. Boys learned woodworking, carving tools, shaping planks for repairs, and eventually contributing to the construction of buildings or even parts of ships. You mastered the axe and knife. Smithing might be another skill if your family had a forge. You'd learn to hammer hot iron, shaping it into nails, tools, or even crude weapon components, feeling the power of the fire and the hammer. Farming was a constant. You learned to plow the unforgiving northern soil with oxen, to sow grain, to scythe hay, and to understand the cycles of nature that dictated your survival. Weapon handling began early. You trained with a wooden shield and a dull axe or sword, practicing swings, blocks, and footwork, essential for self-defense and potential raiding. Meanwhile, girls learned weaving, the rhythmic clatter of the loom filling the longhouse, creating cloth for clothing, sails, and blankets. They mastered cooking over the open hearth, preserving food and managing the household stores, ensuring there was enough to last through the long winters. Girls also learned basic healing arts, gathering herbs, preparing poultices, and tending to the sick and injured, a vital role in a world without professional doctors. The elders taught the practical wisdom of generations, predicting weather, reading animal behavior, and understanding the signs of the seasons. These essential skills, honed through years of diligent practice, prepared you for the demanding, self-sufficient life that lay ahead, whether on the farm or on the distant seas. Unlike some cultures, there was no single dramatic formal ceremony to mark your transition into adulthood in Viking society. Instead, it was a gradual process marked by demonstrated capability. Your coming of age was recognized by your ability to demonstrate proficiency in adult skills. Had you mastered the plow? Could you fell a tree efficiently? Were you capable with a sword? Perhaps it was marked by a successful hunt, bringing down a deer or boar, proving your skill and ability to provide for the community. Or mastering a complex craft, such as building a sturdy chest or repairing a fishing boat, showing your value as a contributing member of the settlement. This usually occurred by your mid-teens, when your strength and knowledge were sufficient to take on full adult responsibilities within the farmstead or community. You might be given your first proper axe or a functional bow, symbols of your new status and the tools you would now use in earnest. The recognition was often subtle, a nod of approval from your father, a place at the adults' table during a feast, or being consulted on a matter by an older relative. You would now be expected to contribute fully to all aspects of life, from arduous farm work to potentially defending the homestead from rivals. This pragmatic approach to adulthood emphasized capability over ritual, ensuring that every young person was a fully functional and valuable member of the community. You were no longer a child. You were a young man ready to face the challenges of Viking life, to contribute to the family's prosperity, and perhaps to seek your own destiny beyond the fjords.
The call of the sea, or the promise of wealth, was strong. The day finally came for your first journey away from your home settlement, a pivotal moment in your life as a burgeoning Viking. You stepped aboard a magnificent longship, its elegant curves a testament to Norse craftsmanship, its single sail ready to catch the wind. The scent of tar and salt filled the air. This first voyage might be an embarking on a trading expedition. You'd journey to distant lands like the Slavic rivers or the British Isles, laden with furs, amber, and iron goods to exchange for silver, textiles, and exotic wares. Alternatively, your first journey might be to join a small, opportunistic raid for plunder. The thrill and terror of the unknown would be palpable as you set sail with hardened warriors. You'd learn the harsh realities of seafaring, the biting spray, the relentless winds, the cramped conditions, and the ever-present danger of storms. Every man had his duty on board, rowing, bailing, handling sails, or keeping watch. You learned to work as one with your crew, their lives dependent on yours and yours on theirs. The sight of unfamiliar coastlines, new peoples, and different cultures would open your eyes to a world far larger than your secluded fjord. Whether trading or raiding, the journey was about acquiring wealth and reputation. Success meant silver, goods, and the respect of your peers. You witnessed the strength of your people, their ability to navigate vast oceans, to adapt to new environments, and to exert their will on distant shores. This first voyage was your true initiation into the broader Viking world, a daring step that set the course for your life as a warrior, trader, and explorer.
Even if your spirit yearned for the open sea and the thrill of distant expeditions, the undeniable truth was that much of your year was spent farming, a constant, essential labor for survival. The cycles of the seasons dictated your life. Spring meant plowing fields with oxen, the heavy beasts straining against the yoke, turning the cold northern soil to prepare for planting. Summer was dedicated to tending crops and the crucial task of harvesting grain, Barley and rye were staples, a grueling period of bending, cutting, and gathering. You would tend livestock, cows, goats, sheep, and pigs, providing milk, meat, wool, and hides. Their health was vital to your family's well-being through the winter. Building and repairing was constant, mending fences, thatching roofs, maintaining the longhouse, and crafting tools. There was always something to fix or create. The daily rhythm was demanding from dawn till dusk. There was no true off-season, as even winter brought tasks like woodworking, weaving, and animal care. You learned to read the weather, to understand the subtle signs of nature that dictated your success or failure in coaxing a living from the land. This agricultural foundation was essential for survival. The food you grew fed your family and provided provisions for your longship journeys. No farm, no expeditions. While battles and voyages brought glory, it was the quiet, relentless labor of the farmstead that provided the stability and sustenance for the Viking way of life. Your hands were equally comfortable with the grip of an axe for battle as they were with the handle of a plow, embodying the dual nature of Viking existence. Periodically, you would gather with your community at the local thing, a vital outdoor assembly that was the bedrock of Norse law and governance. It was democracy in action, Viking style. At the thing, laws were discussed and formalized, often recited from memory by the law speaker. You listened intently, learning the rules that governed your society. Disputes were settled publicly. You'd witness arguments over land, livestock, or grievances, with both accuser and accused presenting their case, often with fierce rhetoric. Alliances were forged or broken, oaths sworn, and important decisions made collectively. Every free man had a voice, though some voices carried more weight than others. This was where you learned the importance of community justice, of resolving conflicts through established procedures rather than immediate violence, though brawls sometimes broke out. It was also a social event, a chance to meet people from other settlements, to trade, to feast, and to hear news from distant lands. You learned the power of persuasive speaking, of building consensus, and of standing firm in your convictions before your peers. The thing reinforced the strength of your local community, showcasing how self-governance functioned without a king's direct decree. You understood that while individual strength was valued, the collective will of the thing held ultimate authority, capable of outlawing individuals or settling major disputes. Participating in the thing deepened your understanding of Norse society, its values, and its unique system of decentralized justice, shaping your respect for law and collective decision-making. The longship was the heart of the Viking world, and you learned its secrets. You gained an intricate craft of shipbuilding, understanding every plank and rivet that made these vessels legendary. You learned to select the perfect oak, to split it along the grain for strength, to carve the curved strakes that formed the hull, each piece fitting perfectly. The scent of tar and fresh-cut wood was constant. You'd help with caulking the seams with tarred wool, ensuring the vessel was watertight against the relentless sea. You understood the balance, the strength, and the surprising lightness of these ships, designed for both swift raids and long ocean voyages. Beyond building, you mastered seamanship. You learned to read the subtle shifts in the wind, to interpret the swell of the waves, and to navigate by the sun and stars when far from land. You learned to handle the massive single sail, to trim it for maximum speed, and to quickly lower the mast when transitioning from sail to oar power.
Rowing was a relentless, rhythmic task, demanding immense stamina and synchronized effort from the entire crew, propelling the ship forward with muscle. The sea was unpredictable, a formidable foe that could turn violent without warning. You learned respect for its power, knowing that one mistake could mean a watery grave. These skills were passed down through generations, refined by experience, making Norse sailors the undisputed masters of their era. Your understanding of shipbuilding and seamanship bound you to the sea, making you an integral part of the Viking spirit of exploration and conquest.
The sagas spoke of it, and now you were living it. One terrifying, exhilarating dawn, your longship approached a foreign shore, targeting a place that would forever mark the beginning of an era, Lindisfarne. The low mist clinging to the holy island began to burn away as your longship scraped ashore. You saw it, a wealthy, unsuspecting monastery, a treasure trove for the taking, undefended. The monks, clad in simple robes, were caught unawares, their peaceful existence shattered by the sudden, terrifying sight of your fierce warriors storming ashore, axes gleaming. Your heart hammered as you joined the rush, the cries of your comrades mingling with the terrified screams of the monks. This was not a battle, but a swift, brutal strike for plunder. You moved quickly, seizing gold from altars, silver chalices, richly illuminated manuscripts, and anything of value that could be carried. The riches were astounding, far beyond anything you'd seen at home. The scene was chaotic, but purposeful. You grabbed what you could, your eyes alert for both wealth and danger. The knowledge you gained was of the vulnerability of these rich lands. This raid, an early, terrifying example of Viking power, left a lasting scar on the Christian world and ignited the Viking Age in the eyes of those you plundered. Back on the ship, the sheer volume of the loot was exhilarating. You shared the spoils, your portion a testament to your courage and participation. The speed and ferocity of the attack, the ease with which you overwhelmed the undefended, left you with a profound sense of power and invincibility on the open sea. Lindisfarne was more than a raid. It was a defining moment, showing you the immense wealth beyond your shores and setting the stage for future expeditions across distant seas. Not all voyages were for plunder. You eventually embarked on a different kind of journey, one that took you eastward, down river routes to Slavic lands, far from the familiar western seas. You navigated vast river systems, sometimes hauling your longship over land between rivers, portaging, a demanding but vital part of the journey. Your destination was the bustling trade centers of the Varangian Rus, the Norsemen who had established trading outposts and cities like Kiev and Novgorod. Here, you engaged in vibrant trade, exchanging the goods of the north, furs, sable, ermine, beaver, gleaming amber, and sometimes slaves, captured in raids or purchased from Slavic tribes. In return, you acquired the coveted riches of the East, fine silks from Byzantium, intricate jewelry, spices, and vast quantities of silver dirhams from the Abbasid Caliphate, often in the form of coins. You met diverse peoples, Slavs, Khazars, Pechenegs, and Greeks from the distant city of Miklagardh, Constantinople. You learned snippets of their languages and observed their customs. The scale of the trade routes was immense, connecting Scandinavia to the heart of the Islamic world and the Byzantine Empire, a network of wealth and cultural exchange. You experienced the thrill of the marketplace, the haggling, and the satisfaction of a profitable exchange, bringing back exotic goods that were rare and valuable at home. This journey deepened your understanding of the world, showing you that wealth could be gained not just through the edge of a sword, but through cunning trade and arduous travel. The eastern routes were a testament to the versatility of the Viking spirit, proving that commerce and exploration were as central to their identity as warfare.
The desire for new land, whether for farming or escaping feuds, often led to migration. You participated in the momentous act of settling a new territory, a profound undertaking that shaped your future. Perhaps you joined the wave of Norsemen claiming new farms in Iceland, a harsh but unspoiled land of ice and fire, where you could be truly free and establish your own chieftaincy. Alternatively, you might have claimed land in the Danelaw in England, carving out a new life in the fertile Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, integrating with local populations while maintaining your Norse identity. The process of settlement was arduous. You cleared forests, drained swamps, and built a new longhouse, enduring the harsh pioneering conditions of an unfamiliar environment. You measured and claimed your land, establishing your boundaries, often negotiating or contending with existing populations or other Norse settlers. This was a chance for a fresh start, to escape old feuds or the crowded conditions of your homeland, and to build a prosperous future for your family. You became a farmer-settler, deeply invested in the land you now called your own, transforming wilderness into a productive homestead. You brought your customs, your language, and your laws to these new territories, slowly shaping the cultural landscape of your new home. This act of settlement was a testament to the Viking spirit of enduring hardship for the sake of opportunity, planting roots far from your ancestral lands. Your new home became a cornerstone of your identity, a place where you could build a lasting legacy for your children, free from the constraints of the old world.
Having secured a farmstead or a stable livelihood, you embraced family life, a cornerstone of Viking society. Marriage, often a practical arrangement, would establish your lineage. You would marry, perhaps through an arrangement negotiated by your families, forging alliances between clans and consolidating wealth or land. Your wedding would be a celebration, a feast with mead and roasted meats, binding you and your chosen partner in a commitment to build a prosperous household. You would then devote yourself to raising children in your new homestead, teaching them the vital skills and values needed to thrive in your world. You'd share with them the sagas of your ancestors, the epic tales of gods like Odin and Thor, and heroes who sailed the seas, instilling in them their Norse heritage and a sense of pride. You taught your sons to wield an axe and plow the fields, and your daughters to spin wool and manage the household, preparing them for their roles in adulthood. The family unit was paramount, a source of strength and continuity. Your children were your legacy, ensuring the survival and prosperity of your lineage. The daily rhythm of family life, while demanding, brought a deep sense of purpose and contentment after years of raiding or arduous travel. You instilled in them the values of honor, self-reliance, and fierce loyalty to kin, lessons learned from your own upbringing and experiences. Your family, gathered around the hearth in your longhouse, was the heart of your world, a place of warmth, stories, and the promise of a future generation. The long, dark winter nights were a time for community, celebration, and the preservation of history. You would gather in the longhouse for lively feasts and captivating storytelling. The air would be filled with the rich aroma of roasted meats, fresh bread, and the sweet scent of mead, brewed from honey, flowing freely from large drinking horns. Laughter, camaraderie, and boasts of past deeds would fill the hall. You would share your own tales of voyages, battles, and daring adventures, earning the respect of your peers. The highlight of many gatherings was the presence of a skald, a poet bard, who would recite epic sagas of gods like Odin and Thor, of ancient kings, and of the heroic deeds of legendary warriors. You'd listen, captivated, as the skald wove intricate verses, preserving the oral history of your people, their myths, their triumphs, and their tragedies. These stories reinforced your cultural identity, your connection to the divine, and the values of courage, honor, and cleverness that defined your worldview. Music, played on lyres or bone flutes, might accompany the storytelling, adding to the festive atmosphere. Sometimes riddles would be posed, challenging the quick wit of the attendees. These gatherings were not just entertainment, they were vital social events, strengthening community bonds, reaffirming social hierarchies, and celebrating shared heritage. They provided warmth and cheer against the relentless cold and darkness of the northern winter, a time for the spirit to be nourished as much as the body. Feasting and storytelling were the lifeblood of Viking culture, a powerful way to transmit knowledge, reinforce values, and celebrate the rich tapestry of your people's past and present.
As the Middle Ages progressed, a powerful new force began to sweep across the Norse lands: Christianity. You would witness the slow, sometimes jarring conversion of your people. Missionaries, often accompanied by kings or powerful chieftains, would preach of a new God, a single deity, and the promise of eternal salvation in heaven, a stark contrast to Valhalla. You would observe the destruction of old pagan temples, the felling of sacred trees, and the construction of wooden churches in their place, a visible sign of the shifting spiritual landscape. For many, including perhaps yourself, the acceptance of the new faith might have been reluctant, driven by practical reasons rather than deep conviction. It was often a matter of political expediency or trade relations. Kings converted first, seeing the advantages of aligning with powerful Christian kingdoms. Their subjects then followed, often under implicit or explicit pressure. While publicly adopting the new faith, many would still hold on to old beliefs in secret, offering quiet veneration to Thor for strength or Freya for fertility, mingling the old with the new. You might continue to wear a small Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, amulet, beneath your tunic, a subtle defiance or a comforting reminder of the old ways. The new Christian laws, particularly regarding marriage and feuds, often clashed with traditional Norse customs, creating tension and requiring adaptation. You would attend the new church services, listening to the unfamiliar chants and sermons, contrasting them with the vibrant, earthy sagas of your youth. This period of conversion marked a profound cultural shift, changing not just your spiritual practices, but also the very fabric of your society, as you adapted to a world increasingly shaped by Christian influence.
Even with the advent of formal laws, your society was one where honor and law were inextricably intertwined, often leading to complex legal disputes and the potential for brutal blood feuds. A slight, a perceived injustice, or a dispute over property could quickly escalate. You might find yourself or your kin embroiled in a blood feud, a deadly cycle of vengeance that could span generations. This meant that an insult or injury to one family member demanded retribution from the offending family, with death or severe injury often the price. Alternatively, you might seek justice through the established legal channels, presenting your case at the thing, the local or regional assembly. Here, you would make your legal challenge, presenting evidence, calling witnesses, and engaging in formal arguments, hoping for a just resolution mediated by the law speaker or respected elders. Legal battles could be just as fierce as physical ones, relying on eloquent speech, strong alliances, and public support to win your case. Fines, wergild, paid in silver or goods, were a common form of compensation for injuries or deaths, an attempt to stem the tide of endless feuding. However, if the wergild was refused or deemed insufficient, the feud could reignite, leading to ambushes, raids on farmsteads, and the tragic loss of life. Navigating these complex social dynamics required shrewdness, courage, and a deep understanding of both the spoken laws and the unspoken rules of honor. This constant tension between formal law and personal honor shaped your interactions, making every dispute a potential flashpoint and every resolution a careful balancing act.
As the years weighed on you, and your body began to feel the toll of countless voyages and battles, the time came for your retirement from active raiding. The axe would be put down, replaced by a staff. No longer fit for the rigors of seafaring or the demands of combat, you would transition into a new role within your community, often becoming a respected elder. Your vast experience, your travels, and your knowledge of distant lands would make you a valuable source of counsel and wisdom. Younger men would seek your advice on voyages, trade, or local disputes. You might sit at the head of the longhouse table during feasts, your presence commanding respect, your words carrying weight from a life well lived. Your role might involve mediating disputes between neighbors or clans, using your accumulated wisdom and reputation to prevent feuds from escalating. You would share your sagas not just as entertainment, but as lessons for the next generation, imparting the values of courage, prudence, and cunning. While your physical strength might diminish, your mental acuity, your experience, and your knowledge of law and tradition would only grow. You would oversee the farmstead, guiding your children and grandchildren, ensuring the continued prosperity of your lineage. This period of elder statesmanship was a peaceful culmination of a life dedicated to service, whether through raiding, trading, or farming, bringing a quiet dignity. You were the living memory of your community, a link to the glorious past and a guiding hand for its future, a testament to the enduring power of a life well lived.
In your advancing years, or upon the passing of a respected contemporary, you would participate in the solemn and significant ritual of preparing for the afterlife. This often involved building a burial mound. If for yourself, you might oversee the preparations, ensuring your wishes were met. For a fallen chieftain or a revered family member, the entire community would participate. A circular earthwork, often substantial in size, would be meticulously constructed, perhaps overlooking a fjord or a fertile valley, a lasting monument to the deceased. Inside, the burial chamber would be prepared. For the most esteemed, this might involve an elaborate ship burial, where longship itself was dragged ashore and interred, laden with grave goods. Imagine placing treasured possessions, weapons, jewelry, tools, and perhaps even sacrificed animals, believing they would accompany the deceased on their journey to the afterlife. The rituals reflected deeply held pagan beliefs of the afterlife, a journey to realms like Valhalla for fallen warriors chosen by Odin, or Hell for those who died of old age or sickness, ruled by the goddess Hel. The construction was a community effort, a final act of respect and remembrance, solidifying the individual's place in the memory of the living and the realm of the dead. The mound would stand as a permanent landmark, a sacred place, a quiet testament to the enduring presence of your ancestors in the landscape. You understood that death was not an end, but a transition, and the proper burial ensured the deceased's passage to the next world and continued influence on the living. This act of building, whether for yourself or another, underscored the Viking reverence for their dead and their profound belief in a continuing journey beyond the mortal coil. As the years truly began to weigh, you would face the inevitable reality of sickness and decline, common ailments of old age in a world without advanced medicine. Your once strong bones might ache with rheumatism after a lifetime of hard labor, cold voyages, and rigorous combat. Every movement could bring a dull throb. Your keen eyesight, once sharp enough to spot a distant sail or a subtle track, would begin failing, making intricate tasks difficult and the world a blur at the edges. Other ailments, from persistent coughs to debilitating fevers, might visit you, leaving you weak and bedridden for long periods, testing your resilience. In this world, there were no hospitals or modern doctors. You were cared for by family, primarily your wife, daughters, or daughters-in-law, who applied traditional remedies and offered comfort. Herbal poultices, warm broths, and quiet companionship were your primary sources of solace as your body slowly betrayed you. The long winters, which you once endured with robust energy, now became periods of deep weakness, confined to the warmth of the longhouse, vulnerable to chills and illness. You would feel your strength ebb, a slow surrender to the forces of nature that you had once so vigorously contended with. Despite the physical decline, your mind might remain sharp, reflecting on a life filled with adventures, struggles, and the quiet joys of family. This period of decline was a testament to the limitations of human life, a gradual winding down that was both a challenge to endure and a natural precursor to your final journey. The final moment arrived, and your spirit embarked on its ultimate journey to the afterlife, a destination determined by the beliefs of your Norse ancestors. If you had lived a life of bravery and died heroically in battle, your spirit would be carried by the Valkyries to Valhalla, Odin's glorious hall in Asgard. Here you would feast and fight alongside other chosen warriors, preparing for Ragnarok, the final battle of the gods. This was the warrior's ultimate reward. However, if you died peacefully of old age, of sickness, or by accident, your path would lead to Hel, the misty realm ruled by the goddess Hel, located beneath the roots of Yggdrasil. Hel was not a place of punishment, but a shadowy underworld, a resting place for those who did not fall in battle, where you would be reunited with ancestors who died similarly. You believed your spirit would be awaited by ancestors and gods. Whether feasting in Valhalla or gathering in Hel, your lineage and deeds determining your final resting place. The longhouse would be filled with the wails of your kin, the lamentations marking your passage from the world of the living. Your body would be prepared for burial, perhaps placed in the burial mound you helped construct, or interred in a simple grave with some personal belongings. Your death was seen not as an end, but as a transition, a continuation of your existence in a different realm, still connected to your lineage and the cosmic order. The sagas and myths you grew up hearing would now become your reality, a final, ultimate adventure beyond the veil of life, a journey into the heart of Norse cosmology. Your saga concludes, a life rich with the salt spray of the sea, the warmth of the hearth, and the clang of steel. From childhood chores to daring raids, from settled farmsteads to distant voyages, you lived a life emblematic of the Viking Age. Remember the echoes of your journey, for even in the quiet of the present, the spirit of the North endures.